Here's how to replace a broken drive shaft on an F-150. We got Badger and Skinny Pete and a new drive shaft, and we're gonna bolt it in there. First, we'll show you how the old one came off after it broke in half. It's real easy to take off on the road. It's harder to put in, and we'll show you. So this drive shaft broke when some stupid kid tried to jump the truck in the sand dunes, and it snapped in half. So we dug a hole under the truck to get access to it, and then I was able to use just a normal socket wrench with an extender on it to be able to get it off the front and off the back. Each front and back has 4 bolts on it, and we didn't need to remove the heat shields to get the drive shaft off. So we've jacked up the truck and made it so that we can spin one wheel, because when you spin one wheel, that then spins the front drive shaft attachment place so that you can move the bolts around and get to them.
Yeah, so we're going to be lowering the sway bar, and from these two there's 2 nuts on this side, and on this side there's 2 more nuts, and you're going to need a 15 millimeter long socket, preferably 1/2 inch drive with a breaker bar, and we don't have a 1/2 inch drive, so we're working with a 3/8.
Muscles.
Yes, we just make gains, so it's okay. Gains. So the top is attached, the threads are attached here. It's a locking bolt, so you don't need to get a wrench on top. You can just use the ratchet for the nut.
All right, so now that both of them are undone, it can just hang like that. It's still connected, but it's just gonna hang. Get the sway bar bracket. That's why the bolts don't turn. So the front one will spin because we have the wheel jacked up. You can see the wheel turning when he spins it. So you either turn the wheel to turn it, or you can just turn it by hand like that. And then the back one will spin on its own.
So here's the back, and as you can see, it spins freely. So we'll get to those bolts. And we're gonna slide the back of the drive shaft in first, and rest on the subframe, so then we can line it up with the front part here.
All right, so Badger's got the drive shaft coming in.
And now I need a bolt, because there's more holes than there is bolts. Now what it looks like here is that was the spot where this gap was. So I'm gonna try and line it up this way. Okay, so we got one threaded on a little bit. So this drive shaft has 2 pieces right here, and this part can kind of go in and out. You want the smaller piece on the front, up in the front, and the longer piece will go straight to the back. All right, so it's 4 bolts on each side, and what we're using, it's a 12-point socket, and it's a 12 millimeter, and we've got an extension on there because of this piece here. But yeah, that's the size.
All right, where did the torque specs?
Snug.
All right, yeah, look it up. Consult your local AutoZone. We're just gonna torque the hell out of it.
Yes, we're also gonna tighten instead of loosen.
They were pretty loose when I took them off. I don't know if that's good or bad.
Now we're putting another bolt on the back. So I've got one in the front just to hold it up, and I'm putting one in the back, so we'll actually be able to spin this. And we got the 3 extensions here, because you're gonna need a long extension to get this back here and fit the ratchet.
Sorry, YouTube viewers, don't give us a thumbs down. There's no way to get a camera and a wrench in there, so you can figure it out. It looks like the front one, but it's on the back. A bunch of holes. Just put the bolt in the hole, crank it down.
Pretty much. Torque it down.
And it'll spin if you need it to spin. So that's the other thing. If you need to spin it around, it will spin. And the reason it can spin is because the transfer case is in 2-wheel drive mode.
So we're putting on all the bolts relatively loose, because there's still going to be a little play in the drive shaft, and we want to be able to line it up perfectly with the threads. So right now we're just trying to make sure they're all loose, and just until we get all 4 bolts in, then we can tighten them down in a spiral pattern.
Yep, and we got Badger back there holding the tire, so he can hold that when we don't want the drive shaft to spin. He lets go of the tire when the tire can spin, so we can rotate the drive shaft to get it in the right positions.
And PB Blaster, WD-40, knock her loose.
Knocking her loose, boys.
Key for this.
All right, so the drive shaft is in. Just torque down the bolts there, 4 in the front and 4 in the back. Now to the sway bar. There you go, sway bar in position.
So much sand coming out of this.
Yeah, there's a ton of sand up in here. right, what's the torque spec on that bolt, sir?
A lot.
A lot. There you go. Bar intact. Drive shaft in. Super easy, right?
Right. Oh, god damn.
Rip my bumper off. Oh, stop. Oh, that didn't work.